Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Tech Talk Today, your one-stop shop for all things tech. I'm CPU, and today we're diving into the ultimate CPU battle, Intel versus AMD. We're gonna break down the history, the tech, the performance, and everything in between to help you decide which brand deserves a spot in your next rig. So, buckle up, grab your favorite tech beverage, and let's get into it. Before we dive into the specs and benchmarks, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Intel, founded back in 1968, is like the OG tech giant. They basically invented the microprocessor game with the Intel 4004. AMD entered the scene a year later in '69, initially producing second-source chips. Things got interesting in '75 when AMD dropped the AM 9080, a reverse-engineered Intel 8080. That move sparked a rivalry for the ages. Fast forward to today, and Intel is still a household name, synonymous with high-performance computing. They've consistently pushed the boundaries of clock speeds and single-core performance. But AMD has been anything but a slouch. They've carved out their own niche with a focus on multi-core processors and impressive integrated graphics. Intel is like the seasoned veteran, known for their raw power and reliability. AMD is the scrappy underdog, constantly innovating and challenging the status quo. Alright, so we've got a handle on the history, but what about right now? What are these companies bringing to the table in 2023? Let's start with Intel. Their bread and butter is single-core performance. This translates to a noticeable difference in tasks like gaming, where a few powerful cores often outperform having a ton of slower ones. Their latest 13th Gen Raptor Lake CPUs are a prime example of this philosophy. They've got this cool hybrid architecture with performance cores for heavy lifting and efficiency cores for background tasks. But Intel's been facing some heat, literally and figuratively, with their manufacturing process. They've been stuck on the 14-nanometer node for a while now, which some argue puts them behind AMD in terms of power efficiency and transistor density. Speaking of AMD, they've been absolutely killing it with their Ryzen processors, especially the Ryzen 7000 series. These chips are built using TSMC's 5-nanometer process, leading to better power efficiency and thermal performance. AMD's gone all in on multi-core designs, cramming as many cores as possible onto their chips. This makes them beasts for multitasking, content creation, and anything that can utilize those extra cores. And let's not forget about AMD's integrated graphics. Their APUs, which combine a CPU and GPU on a single chip, have become a popular choice for budget-friendly builds. So, in a nutshell, Intel's still the king of single-core speed, crucial for gaming and certain applications. AMD's got the edge in multi-core performance, power efficiency, and integrated graphics. Let's be real, for a lot of us, gaming is a major factor when choosing a CPU. If you're all about pushing those frame rates to the max, Intel has historically held the crown. Their Core i5 and i7 CPUs are like the go-to choices for gamers, thanks to those high clock speeds and excellent single-thread performance. Take the Core i5 13600K for example. It's a beast when it comes to delivering smooth, high FPS gameplay in demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077 and Call of Duty Warzone. But don't write off AMD just yet. They've been steadily closing the gap in gaming performance with their Ryzen 5 and Ryzen 7 processors. And then there's the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. This chip is a game-changer literally. It packs AMD's innovative 3D V-cache technology, which gives it an insane amount of L3 cache. The result? The 7800X3D actually outperforms even Intel's top-tier chips in certain gaming scenarios. Now here's the thing. Building a gaming PC is an investment, and not everyone has unlimited funds. If you're working with a tighter budget, AMD often provides better bang for your buck, especially if you're willing to consider older generation Ryzen CPUs. You can often find some killer deals on previous gen Ryzen chips that still deliver fantastic gaming performance without breaking the bank. So when it comes to gaming, it's a close call. Intel still holds the edge in raw single-core performance, but AMD's Ryzen processors, especially those with 3D V-cache, are hot on their heels and offer incredible value. Okay, so gaming is important, but CPUs aren't just for fragging zombies and exploring vast open worlds. They're also the workhorses behind demanding tasks like video editing, 3D rendering, software development, and anything that requires serious processing power. If you're a content creator or a professional dealing with massive data sets, this section is for you. And in this arena, AMD has a clear advantage. Their Ryzen 9 and Threadripper CPUs are absolute beasts when it comes to multi-core performance. Even AMD's mainstream Ryzen 9 CPUs like the Ryzen 9 7950X handle video editing, 3D rendering, and multitasking like a champ. Now, Intel hasn't been sitting idly by. They still offer some seriously powerful CPUs for productivity and content creation with their Core i9 processors leading the charge. The i9 13900K, for example, boasts impressive single-core performance and a respectable number of cores. Intel's hybrid architecture also shines in these workloads, dynamically allocating resources to where they're needed most. So it really boils down to your specific needs. If you're dealing with extremely demanding workloads, AMD's Ryzen 9 and Threadripper CPUs are the undisputed champions. At the end of the day, we're all looking for the best value. We want the most bang for our buck, that sweet spot where performance meets affordability. Intel CPUs, especially their high-end models, tend to be priced a bit higher than their AMD counterparts. For example, a Core i9 13900K will set you back a bit more than a Ryzen 9 7950X. However, Intel motherboards, especially those compatible with 12th and 13th gen CPUs, are often more affordable than AMD's newer AM5 platform boards. So, while you might save a bit up front on the CPU with AMD, you might end up spending a bit more on the motherboard. AMD has built a reputation for offering excellent value, especially in the mid-range and high-end segments. Their Ryzen processors often deliver comparable or even better performance than Intel's offerings at a lower price point. However, AMD's transition to the AM5 platform, which is necessary for their Ryzen 7000 series CPUs, comes with some added costs. AM5 requires DDR5 RAM, which is currently more expensive than DDR4. Plus, you'll need a new motherboard compatible with the AM5 socket. Intel CPUs might have a slightly higher upfront cost, but their motherboard options can be more budget-friendly. AMD processors often offer better value in terms of raw performance per dollar, but the transition to their AM5 platform can involve additional expenses. The tech world moves fast, and both Intel and AMD are constantly innovating and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Intel's been teasing their next-generation platform codenamed Meteor Lake. Rumors suggest a major focus on AI-powered processing, potentially integrating dedicated AI accelerators directly onto the CPU die. They're also working hard to catch up in the manufacturing game, aiming to introduce more efficient process nodes to rival TSMC's advancements. AMD is doubling down on their 3D stacking technology, which has already proven successful with 3DV cache. They're exploring ways to stack different components like memory and I/O dies directly on top of the CPU die, further enhancing performance and efficiency. AMD is also making big moves in the server market with their EPIC processors, challenging Intel's dominance in data centers and cloud computing, and let's not forget their continued focus on integrated graphics. AMD's APUs are only getting more powerful, blurring the lines between traditional CPUs and dedicated graphics cards. It's an exciting time to be a tech enthusiast because the competition between Intel and AMD is only heating up. We've covered a lot of ground from the history of these tech titans to their latest and greatest processors, but now comes the big question, which one wins? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It all comes down to your individual needs, your budget, and what you prioritize in a CPU. If you're a hardcore gamer who demands the absolute highest frame rates, and you're willing to pay a premium for that performance, Intel's latest Core i5 or i7 processors are still a compelling choice. Their single-core performance is top-notch, and their gaming legacy is undeniable. But if you value multi-core performance, power efficiency, and you want the best bang for your buck, AMD's Ryzen processors are a force to be reckoned with. Their Ryzen 5, 7, and 9 CPUs offer incredible value across various price points, and their 3DV cache technology is a game-changer for gamers and content creators alike. Consider the platform costs, the upgrade path, and even the future technologies each company is investing in. Do you want to jump on the AM5 platform with AMD and embrace DDR5 RAM? Or are you comfortable with Intel's more mature platform? These are all factors to weigh when making your decision. Ultimately, the rivalry between Intel and AMD is a win for consumers. Their constant battle for CPU supremacy drives innovation, pushing the boundaries of performance and affordability. That's a wrap on our Intel versus AMD showdown. Hopefully you're walking away with a better understanding of what each brand brings to the table. At the end of the day, The best CPU for you is the one that fits your specific needs and budget. So, do your research, compare those benchmarks, and choose the champion that will power your next PC build. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Tech Talk Today.